almost impossible to mark.
Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Express News. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. The inaugural session of the 18th Lok Sabha, the lower house of India's legislature, will be held from 24th of June to the 3rd of July. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiren Rijiju made the announcement on Wednesday. President Draupadi Murmu will address both houses of India's parliament on 27th June. She is expected to outline the new government's agenda for the next 5 years. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, first overseas visit in his third term, will be to Italy on 13th June for a G7 summit. India's Foreign Secretary Vinay Mohan Kwatra made the announcement on Wednesday. Foreign Secretary Kwatra said that the issue of cross-border terrorism will be raised at the highest level at the G7 summit in Italy. Nirmala Sitharaman officially assumed her portfolio of India's finance minister for a second consecutive term in Prime Minister Narendra Modi's newly elected government. Nitin Gadkari has taken charge as India's Minister of Road Transport and Highways, along with Ministers of State Ajay Tamta and Harsh Malhotra. Sarbananda Sonowal, India's Minister for Ports, Shipping and Waterways, held a meeting with ministry officials to improve its performance and draw up a roadmap for the ministry's 100-day program after taking charge of his portfolio on Wednesday. Jyotiraditya Scindia took charge as Minister of Development of Northeastern Region. He reiterated the government's commitment to serving the northeastern states of the country. And Chandrababu Naidu was sworn in as Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh on Wednesday after his party's landslide win in the recently concluded legislative election in the state. Prime Minister Narendra Modi attended Chandrababu Naidu's swearing-in ceremony, highlighting the alliance between their respective parties in the state of Andhra Pradesh. Actor turned politician and Janasena Party President Pawan Kalyan was sworn in as Andhra Pradesh's Deputy Chief Minister. Mohan Charan Maji took oath as Chief Minister of the Eastern Indian state of Odisha on Wednesday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi attended the swearing-in ceremony of the new state government in Bhubaneswar. India's Law and Justice Minister Arjun Ram Meghwal launched a review of the country's litigation system. It aims to streamline government lawsuits. Lieutenant General Upendra Dwivedi has been appointed as India's next Army Chief. He will take over on the 30th of June. Ravi Shankar Prasad and Tarun Chugh, who were the BJP's central observers for the election of Arunachal Pradesh Legislative Party leader, reached Itanagar on Wednesday. 5 security personnel sustained injuries in a terror attack in the Doda district of India's Jammu and Kashmir on Tuesday, highlighting the ongoing security challenges in the region. In another incident, a Central Reserve Police Force personnel succumbed to his injuries sustained during a terror attack in the Kathua district of India's Jammu and Kashmir on Wednesday. A massive fire broke out at a factory in Maharashtra's Dombivli, prompting evacuations and firefighting efforts by 7 fire tenders. India's top court criticized the Delhi government for its handling of a water crisis and questioned whether it had taken any action against water tanker mafia. Ahead of the International Day of Yoga on 21st June, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi shared instructional videos on yoga asanas and their benefits on social media. India's retail inflation eased to a 12-month low of 4.75% in May on an annual basis from 4.83% in April, as per government data released on Wednesday. On Wednesday, the BSE Sensex closed at 76,607, up 150 points, while the Nifty 50 hit a record high of 23,442 before ending at 23,323, up 58 points. The Indian rupee rose 4 paise to close at 83.55 to the dollar on Wednesday. Gold futures maturing on 5th August stood at 71,523 rupees per 10 grams, that is $856 on the Multi-Commodity Exchange of India Limited. Silver futures maturing on 5th July stood at 89,035 rupees per kilogram, that is $1,065 on the MCX. Oil prices extended their gains for a third straight session. Brent futures rose 0.5% to $82.36 a barrel, while U.S. crude futures gained 0.7% to $78.45 a barrel. Asian stocks edged up on Wednesday, with MSCI's broadest index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan up 0.3%, while Japan's Nikkei slid 0.5%. On the Wall Street, Apple surged 7% to a record high a day after it unveiled new AI features meant to rekindle demand for iPhones. A lawsuit has accused Tesla's owner Elon Musk of profiting unlawfully from insider information by selling company stock and demanded that he return the gains. Sri Lanka expects a positive review from the IMF's executive board meeting on its economic reform program, potentially unlocking $330 million to bolster the nation's economic reforms. At least 41 people have been killed in a fire that broke out in a building housing workers in Kuwait's Mangaf city. According to reports, a majority of those killed are believed to be Indian nationals. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi condoled the victims of a fire in Kuwait. He said that the Indian embassy in Kuwait is monitoring the situation and collaborating with local authorities to help those affected by the fire. India's External Affairs Minister Subramaniam Jaishankar condoled the families of those who died in the fire in Kuwait and assured them of the Indian embassy's full support. India's ambassador to Kuwait, Adarsh Swaika, visited the Al Adan hospital, where more than 30 Indians injured in the incident were admitted. Most of them were reported to be in a stable condition. The US-backed Gaza ceasefire plan remains in limbo. Israel accuses Hamas of rejecting key elements such as release of hostages, while Hamas maintains that its response has the potential for reaching an agreement. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken arrived in Qatar on Wednesday as part of his West Asia tour. He said at a press conference in Doha that Hamas had promised numerous changes to a ceasefire plan, noting some are feasible while others are not. Lebanon's Hezbollah launched several rockets at an Israeli military post after an Israeli strike killed its top commander, Abu Talib. Israel's military jets targeted several launch sites in southern Lebanon after projectiles were fired towards northern Israel, hitting a launcher in Hanin and 4 infrastructure sites in the Yatir region. U.S. military forces destroyed 2 anti-ship cruise missile launchers in a Houthi-controlled area of Yemen, sparking concerns about the potential spread of the Israel-Hamas conflict in the wider West Asian region. Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban announced on Wednesday that his country would not block NATO decisions on support for Ukraine, but would not participate directly either. Russia on Wednesday conducted a missile and drone attack on Kyiv, damaging residences and injuring several people in Ukraine's capital. Japan is considering to impose sanctions on companies including Chinese firms suspected of aiding Russia in the Ukraine conflict. The U.S. plans to impose broader sanctions on the sale of semiconductor chips and other goods to Russia, with the aim of targeting third-party sellers in China. U.S. President Joe Biden highlighted his government's efforts to combat illegal gun trafficking shortly after his son Hunter was convicted of lying about his drug use to obtain a firearm illegally. President Biden is traveling to Italy on Wednesday for meetings with the group of 7 leaders to increase pressure on Russia regarding its war against Ukraine and China for its support to Moscow. France's President Emmanuel Macron said on Wednesday that dissolving the country's legislature and announcing a snap election were the only possible responses to the far-right strong showing in last weekend's EU Parliament election. North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un affirmed his country's strong ties with Russia in a message to President Vladimir Putin amid speculation of Putin's upcoming visit to North Korea. In Pakistan, the coalition government will present its budget for the next fiscal on Wednesday. It's expected to include ambitious fiscal targets as it seeks a new bailout deal with the International Monetary Fund. Latvia's President Edgars Rinkēvičs praised NATO's Eastern Flank Summit, which included Finland and Sweden, for its historic significance in addressing pressing security concerns related to Russia and Belarus. Spain's government intends to extend the cut on value-added tax on basic food items beyond 30th of June to mitigate the impact of soaring inflation on consumers. The India Meteorological Department on Wednesday said that heat wave to severe heat wave conditions are likely to continue over parts of northwestern and eastern India during the next 4 to 5 days. The IMD has forecast heavy to very heavy rainfall over sub-Himalayan West Bengal, Sikkim and northeastern India during the next 4 to 5 days. At least 41 people in the eastern Indian state of Odisha have died from heat wave-related sunstrokes since the beginning of the summer season. Wildfires broke out on Wednesday in some mountainous areas of India's Jammu and Kashmir and the northern state of Uttarakhand. Local officials are trying to put out the blaze. Temperatures continue to soar in Pakistan. Citizens are turning to solar panels to seek respite from the scorching heat and frequent power outages. Pre-evacuation orders have been issued in the U.S. state of Colorado after a wildfire ignited on the south side of Twin Lakes on Tuesday. Firefighters continue to battle the flames. Fires continue to rage in the Pantanal region of Brazil. More than 3,400 square kilometers of the Pantanal have burned from 1st January to the 9th of June this year. A southern region of Chile has been hit by heavy rains. People there were evacuated on Tuesday as 400 houses were partially submerged by floodwaters. Floodwaters were seen around the Palma de Mallorca airport on Tuesday after heavy rain swept over the Spanish island. A heat wave swept through northwestern China since Monday, setting temperatures soaring but also boosting the popularity of therapeutic sand bathing. More than 150 students performed yoga in Bangladesh on Tuesday ahead of the International Day of Yoga. Pilgrims gathered at the Grand Mosque in Saudi Arabia's Mecca on Tuesday ahead of the start of Hajj, which is the fifth pillar of Islam. A man from Poland attempted to reach the top of a 30-story building without using safety equipment in Argentina's capital, Buenos Aires, on Tuesday. The Polish climber, identified as one Marcin Bano, was intercepted by a rescue team who put him in a safety harness. The climber has since been taken into police custody. Russian marine specialists are attempting to save a humpback whale that got entangled in a fishing net in the Barents Sea north of the Arctic Circle. The U.S. city of San Francisco has approved a $25 million plan to bring 2 pandas to the city zoo in 2025 to contribute to conservation efforts for the endangered species. Mexico's environmental agencies on Tuesday said that the population of the world's rarest marine mammal, the Vaquita porpoise, remains stable compared to previous years. Experts from Mexico, the United States and Canada said that they spotted 9 specimens during a monitoring expedition in May involving porpoise watching. A 62-year-old Egyptian athlete, Amani Rabi, who started powerlifting at the age of 54, has achieved more than 90 gold medals in local and international championships. Rabi, a mother of 2 sons and a grandmother of 3, can lift up to 210 kilograms of weight compared to 2 kilograms that she had started with 8 years ago. A mini forest has been created in the central Indian state of Chhattisgarh's Raipur using a Japanese botanist Akira Miyakawa's concept. The mini forest provides 30% more oxygen and works as an air purifier. British designer William Elliott uses mealworms in an innovative design project to create novel pieces of furniture while also recycling polystyrene, a material hard to dispose of. Afghan refugee breakdancer Manijan Talash is set to debut at the Paris Olympics, where breaking will be included for the very first time. The 21-year-old breaker is training in Spain's Madrid to compete in the refugee team in a first for the sport. Known as B-Girl Talash, she trains both physical and technical skills 6 days a week. Plastic ocean debris has made its way into larger-than-life sculptures to educate people about plastic pollution and is currently on display at the New York Aquarium. The exhibit, called Washed Ashore: Art to Save the Sea, consists of 35 sea life sculptures. The traveling exhibit will remain on view through 2nd of September. A group of women in Hollywood has formed the first ever stunt group for professional female performers called the Association of Women Drivers. Spearheaded by Olivia Summers, who has been doing stunts for 20 years, the organization aims to tackle gender inequality and pay gap issues in the stunt industry. The British city of Liverpool has opened up a Taylor Town Trail to welcome the pop star Taylor Swift, who will perform in Liverpool on Thursday as part of her Eras tour. Indian singer and actor Diljit Dosanjh is set to debut as a guest on the highly popular US late-night show called The Tonight Show, starring Jimmy Fallon, later this week. The makers of Hindi sports drama film Chandu Champion, starring Karthik Aryan, have released a new promo. The film is set for release on the 14th of June. US filmmaker Zack Snyder has announced director's cuts for his two Rebel Moon movies, which will be arriving on Netflix on 2nd August. Emmy-winning popular action-adventure series Arcane is ending its second season in November this year. A new trailer is out. The stars and the crew of the hit drama show Shogun stepped out on the red carpet at the famous Directors Guild of America Theatre in the US city of Los Angeles for a Disney event. Actors Austin Butler, Jodie Comer and Tom Hardy walked the red carpet for the premiere of their film The Bike Riders in London. The film will release globally on the 19th of June. Jin, the oldest member of Korean pop group BTS, was discharged from South Korea's army on Wednesday after 18 months of duty. US art rock band Talking Heads has announced a deluxe edition of its iconic 1984 live album Stop Making Sense in celebration of its 40th anniversary. The album will be available from the 26th of July. US heavy metal band Pantera has announced its first UK and Ireland tour in 20 years, which will kick off in early 2025. British rock band Coldplay performed a new unreleased song called All My Love during its ongoing Music of the Spheres tour in Greece's capital, Athens. India will take on co-host the United States of America in New York City on Wednesday with an eye on securing a Super 8 spot in the ICC Men's T20 World Cup. New Zealand will hope to dish out a much improved performance in a do-or-die clash against tournament co-hosts the West Indies on Thursday in the T20 World Cup. Former champion Sri Lanka is on the brink of an early exit from the T20 World Cup after heavy rain washed out its Group D match against Nepal in the US state of Florida. Pakistan notched up its first win of the T20 World Cup as it got the better of Canada by 7 wickets in New York City on Tuesday. Unbeaten in the tournament so far, Australia registered its third successive win, beating Namibia by 9 wickets to qualify for the Super 8 spot. India's football team was denied a chance to achieve a historic third-round qualification for the 2026 FIFA World Cup after it went down 1-2 against Qatar in Doha. Erik ten Hag is set to remain as coach of Manchester United after a performance review of the Dutchman carried out by the Premier League club. India's top-ranked tennis player Sumit Nagal has reached the pre-quarterfinals of the ATP 125 Perugia Challenger. Former world number 1 Andy Murray began his grass court season with a straight sets loss to Marcus Giron of the US in the opening round of the Stuttgart Open. Britain's Andy Murray may opt out of the Paris Olympics if he is not selected to play in the doubles tournament. And that's all for this edition of DD India Express News. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. All of us here in New Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Express News.